Welcome to Gallery Route 1's 38th annual Juried show. This year it was juried by TaVee Lee, who is a gallery manager in Oakland of the Transition Gallery and also exhibitions director of a Gearbox Gallery, also in Oakland. She had hard choices to make this year. There were probably 350 different artworks. She chose 51 out of that. And we're going to walk through the gallery now, and I will point out the name of the artist, the title, and the materials they used. So, and the name of the show is Connected. Exploring connections, not only interpersonal connections, but connections to nature or whatever the artist chose to do. So we'll take a look, and we'll start with this one. This is Tom Gehrig's piece. He was awarded Best of Show. It's called Suspended Apparatus with Water Collection Cistern. It's oil and mixed media on canvas. And in it, he's playing with a connection between reality and illusion. This piece is by Susan Doyle. It's called Cultural Connection. It's made from silk, organza, embroidery thread. It's mixed media. This piece is by Bev Barnett, called Promise of Spring, botanical mixed media. This piece is by Jeffrey Sully. It's called Yes. It's an acrylic and mixed media on a shaped panel. And this is Mimi Shiner's painting. It's oil on paper. It's called Loft Window. This piece is by Lawrence Elias. It's an inkjet on a shaped painted panel. It's called Kim's Eightfold Dream. Next is Pamela Mooney's painting, oil on canvas, called Be Fruitful and Multiply. Next we have Laurie Caird's two watercolors. It looks like the leftovers from a dinner. The first one's called Lion Dance Cafe. The second one is called Burma Superstar. This is Victoria Hamlin's painting. It's oil and graphite on paper, and it's called In the Rafters. Next is Joy Broom's painting. It's actually 5 small canvases joined together, mixed media, called Sentimental Journeys. This is a photograph by Norman Aragones. It's called America. Here's a mixed media by Lonnie Asher. Mixed media collage. It's called Nest. This is an oil and colored pencil on canvas by Ken Berman. It's called Lascaux number 2. This is by Mirka Naster. It's actually 3 separate folding partitions. It's a fiber work. It's called Connectivity. This is an oil painting by oil and acrylic, actually, on canvas by Ezra Mara. It's called Pattern. And these two collages, they're paper collage by Sonia Gill. The one at the top is called Eye of the Needle. And underneath that, I am you and you are me and we are 3. Also paper collage. This is a watercolor by Juanita Hagberg. It's called Synergy. This is Oil on Panel by Craig Koss. It's called He Restrung Her Stories So They Would Not Be Forgotten. The next is Deborah Hall, Evolution. It's monoprint and collage. This is an oil on canvas by Kathleen Youngquist. It's called Hideaway. And here we have acrylic and collage called When Will My Day Come by Dean Moniz. This is Candace Lougheed, gouache and pens on panel, Crossing the River, What Is. This is a painted photo collage by Michael Acker. It's called Pequeño Creek Bridge. This is Giselle Albright's oil on canvas, 2 parts of a pear. Next, we're going to move on to Angel Lynn's sculpture, 4 parts, called Women's Talk. And what are they talking about? It's a mystery. These are ceramic with underglaze. This is a watercolor by Nelson He. It's called Mooring Number 28. It's part of a series of moorings that he's done. This one is by Moeko Mashida. It's called Form of Life. Pigment, mineral pigment, gold leaf on Japanese paper. This is by Emilianos. It's called Superstorm, ceramic piece. This is a painting in oil on wood by Chris Harvey. It's called On the Stairs. Next is Barbara Thompson's oil and cold wax on canvas. It's called Looking the Other Way. This one is called Orange Sun by James Gilmore, a chromogenic print. This painting is by Steve Barbaria. It's called Ukraine Winter, Watching and Wondering. Oil, acrylic, and pencil on a panel. Kathleen Edwards, gouache on paper. Sewing Unknown. Oil Stick on Panel by Jane Corrich, Kindred. This is an acrylic laser image transfer epoxy resin on canvas. By Vibrata Chromodoros, it's called Open and Shut. Catherine Wills, Song of the Wanderer. It's oil on canvas. I'm sorry, it's oil on cradled board. An etching by Gail Morrison, VLA Pleiades. This is a manipulated photo by Joanne Edmonds Matthew. We are all connected. Here we have two watercolors by Karen Appleton. On the top is Chatter, number 41. And below that is Chatter, number 43. And next we have two pieces, ceramic glazed pieces with cold finish. They're from the tarot. The first one that you're looking at is High Priestess. And the second one is called The World. This is an assemblage by Dare Porter called Taradiddle. And this large hanging piece by Marilyn Gary. Cotton rope, recycled bed sheets, and wire. It's called Network of Threads. Here's this little tiny sculpture. It's 4 by 4 by 4 by Anne-Marie Baldoff. It's called Santa Fe, and it's a 3D printed sculpture. This painting is by Charlene Steen. It's an encaustic and collage. It's called Family. This is Richard Rayner's Entanglement, number 38. It's gouache on paper. And here we have a photograph by Grace Alley, Thursday morning. And lastly, this is by Renee Owen. It's an artist book made of wooden panels called Contrails. Okay, thank you for tuning in. It's nice to look at the paintings this way, but it's best to come to the gallery and see them in person. Makes a big difference.
Hey everyone, my name is Sofia Gonzalez. I am one of the 2024 Gallery Route 1 Fellows for this year, and I'm going to walk you through my solo show here in the annex called Petaluma Topophilia. Let's take a look. So we'll start here with this piece that I have titled Petaluma Map Flag. This is a piece that I created in 2023, and it focuses on different routes that I walked and ran in Petaluma when I moved there in 2022. The title for the exhibition is Petaluma Topophilia, and when I think about the word topophilia, it means love of land. And I think in order to love land or a place, you first really have to get to know it. When I first moved to Petaluma, I wanted to start to get to know the place, and so I did a lot of walking and running around my neighborhood in Petaluma to start to understand the landscape and really start to ground myself. From there, I found our phones, all of our tools track us and create our own routes and places. So I was realizing that I was actually drawing with my body in space. So I used Google Maps and Strava, two tools that often are used for directions and for tracking our exercise even. And I found that I was creating these interesting shapes with my body when I was walking and running in the place. That is the inspiration for all the shapes that you see here. I traced on top of those maps so that I could figure out the different shapes. And then from there, it kind of morphed and inspired into my own map of Petaluma. So this is an example of that. And it shows all the different routes that I walked and ran from that time in 2022 when I first moved. The colors that you see in the piece, it's all textile fabric, and the colors are made from different plants that I collected along those routes. So it's naturally dyed with things like mushrooms. This one is specifically the dead man's foot mushroom, which is an incredibly ugly mushroom, but creates beautiful golds and warm reds and warm oranges and browns. And so it's made from that, as well as oak galls, which we'll see in a moment, and that makes these blue colors here. So let's transition here to what I'm calling kind of a process wall. The Petaluma map flags have inspired many iterations of the shapes and the different paths that I walked, these shapes that I created with my body. On this wall you can see inspiration from the different colors that can be created from natural dyes, as well as some of the materials that are used to create natural dyes. These little guys in the front are oak galls. They are wasp nests that are created on oak trees, and they're traditionally used to make really dark black ink. And so that's what's giving some of those purples that you saw on the fabric before. A lot of the work that you're seeing on this wall I've made quite recently, just in the past 2 weeks in January. I've been a printmaking resident at In Cahoots in Petaluma, and I've been using the shapes that I created in the larger map flags to really start to understand them further and start to just continue to work with those shapes. It really helps me to turn them into an experience, but also a symbol of these walks and these places that I've created. So that's what you're seeing in these walls, and also some demarcations of what path it might be. For example, this one says October 15th, 12 miles were walked in Petaluma. So that's what some of the annotations are here on the process wall as well. From there in our room here, a lot of the other work kind of jumps off of that. The shapes get a little bigger here. These are print pieces in which the inks that you're seeing, the colors are made from the leftover dye baths from the larger textile pieces. You can distill those dye baths into just dry pigment, and then I'm adding a binder to create them into printmaking ink. And so that's what these are made from, as well as some other color matching just with your normal relief printmaking ink. In addition, these little textured pieces that you're seeing collaged on, those are a part of the pigment making process. They're actually coffee filters that strain out the liquid, and I've just always been enamored with the texture and the byproduct of the process. So we're really using everything from plant to the dye bath and the fabric to the pigments afterwards. The plant is being used from start to finish in the work. As we come around the corner, we have another iteration of the Petaluma map flag. It's the same shapes, different lines are sewn on top to represent different paths walked as well. And this one has some slightly different colors. In this piece, we see dye from redwood cones, eucalyptus bark, pomegranates, oak galls again, marigolds, and lavender as well, creating the more range of greens and the mauves, the kind of pinks that you're seeing too. When I think about these pieces as maps as well as flags, I'm thinking about the fact that a flag can really represent a place. They become symbols of place, whether that's for good or for bad. Sometimes they can be political. They can hold stigmas and different attachments for people to a place. So I was thinking about them as kind of a functional device to demarcate this place for me and this time. So that's why they're both maps and flags, and they can be hung in various ways from the grommets as well. As we continue, we see more shapes that are inspired by these paths taken, additional layering and collaging. It's been really fun to explore these shapes again, but in a different media, working more on print rather than in collage with textile, although a lot of the process is similar with arranging and combining shapes two-dimensionally. And then finally, we have one more piece if we come over here to the side. This piece is a little different. It was actually a drawing I did that relates to some of my other work, thinking about wrapping and protecting, hence the repetition of lines kind of encircling this shape that's inspired by an oak gall. So this is a drawing I've had in my studio for some time, and I brought it to the print shop this past week and started to layer and continue to play on top of it. So it feels a little bit in process, but like it's going somewhere that relates to some of my other sculptural work that I hope to share a little later on in the year. I think that's most of the pieces. I hope you can join us on Saturday to check out the work, if not for the month of January and February. Thank you.